So we were going to cover this story on yesterday's live show, but you know how the live shows get. Sometimes we get on the tangents, we get sidetracked, we have different people jumping on, and the best laid plans often go to waste. However, I'm here to talk to you today about Rob Liefeld and Youngblood and what his plans are going forward now that he has Youngblood underneath his control. How are you going to be able to get the comic and so on? But first, let me introduce myself. I am LP. I am the writer and creator of the comic books Nyobi and Savage Sin. Currently crowdfunding Nyobi Outbreak number 4 on Kickstarter. At the time of this recording, we have 6 days left. We are going to give you a word from our sponsor, so stay tuned for that, and then on with the video. As if by now you didn't know who today's sponsor was. Well, it's me, Austin. It's been me all along. And guys, we are over the halfway point here with the Nyobi Outbreak number 4 Kickstarter campaign with 179 sexy backers strong. We have raised at this point 10,542 Canadian duck bucks, which is about $1.69 US. So for the price of a Starbucks coffee, you too can help feed a starving Canadian beyond the wall like me. So consider backing Nyobi Outbreak number 4 today. We have 10 sexy covers to choose from, all kinds of add-ons, all kinds of things to catch you up with everything Nyobi and everything it is that I do. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming by, checking out the campaign and backing it. And we will see you again for another video real soon. All right, so let's take a look here and see what's going on in the world of Rob Liefeld these days. Deadpool co-creator, Mr. Rob Liefeld, says comic shops are too unreliable to debut his new Youngblood relaunch with them first, so he's selling direct to fans. First, Rob Liefeld quit Marvel. Now he's calling out comic shops for being unreliable with his work. Before we even get into this, let me just say I don't think comic book shops are quote unquote unreliable. I think the way in which they attain their product is unreliable. So I guess by proxy it makes them unreliable. But the unreliable X factor in all this has been and currently is Diamond Distribution. And we know that Diamond Distribution has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And it's only going to be a matter of weeks now before we really know whether Diamond will continue in some form or another or not. So I can understand publishers being reluctant to, go distribution model, go to, shops. And let's be honest, it's not even because Rob is an innovator. It's because he knows there isn't any money in it right now, right? He knows by selling on Whatnot that he can make far more cash. He'll sell less units, but it's not about the amount that he sells. It's the amount that you take in, right? So let's go ahead and look and see if I'm right, because I haven't read this yet. Let's see if I'm right. Lord knows I could be wrong. Probably not, though. After a very public breakup with Marvel Comics over the past 9 months, Rob is plotting his future by reviving his team book series Youngblood. But after what he calls poor orders from comic book shops for his recent Marvel work and variant covers, he has decided to skip selling these comics, at least for now, through comic book stores and instead is selling directly to readers via the Whatnot live streaming platform, right? So this is, again, all about money. He can self-publish the book, he can print the book, and he can mail them out. It's exactly the same thing that we do on Kickstarter. Whatnot's going to take their little slice of the pie, just like Kickstarter takes a little slice of the pie, and you get the rest. If you go through the direct model, everyone gets paid first before the starving artist, right? Having sold 3,000 copies, in the direct market and only getting a fraction of what I really should have been got, right, is devastating. It takes me like $6,000 to make a comic. I get paid like 1,200 Canadian, which is about 800 US for 3,000 copies. Now, if I would have moved 3,000 copies on Kickstarter, that'd be $100,000 campaign. Get what I'm saying? So I can't blame him for this at all if it's about making money. If it's about just getting the word out and getting as many copies in a reader's hands as possible, yeah, you may want distribution. But hey, if you just want, you want to pay $50 for this comic and give me the money directly on Whatnot, and I'll sign him and do a little remarks and all that sort of stuff, and I'm sure that's what's going through his head, then that may be the way to go, because I know he does have a fairly popular Whatnot channel. I've been on there once where he yelled at me. Let's continue on. And I'm gonna do this in Rob's voice whenever I see his quotes. Live stream is the first line of distribution for these comics. He writes on Facebook on March 2nd. Rob is one of the most active and most popular comic creators using the Whatnot platform. According to stats from the company, he has sold 18,000 comics, prints, and other products through his store. I mean, it's no brainer, right? It's about money. When has it not been about money? And that's not a bad thing. We all got to put food on the table, right? Retailers have proven unreliable with distribution of my work. I can't allow their inconsistent practices to dictate terms of my engagement with customers. My customers are left scrambling again and again for copies of my work. No, they're not. It's just, Rob, there's a variety of avenues to obtain your work, right? I can go right now to my comic book shop, and I might today, I'm going to be, out and about, and pick up copies of Youngblood for $1. Or I can go to eBay and pick them up. Or I can go to your Whatnot store and pick them up. Or I can find them secondhand at a yard sale and pick them up. It's not that hard to get your work, Rob. You just want all that funneling to come to you. And I understand that. Liefeld has complained about low retailer orders and reports of some stores not stocking his work at all. Well, hell, if it's not going to sell, Rob, they're not going to sell it, right? Let's be honest. Some of your covers lately, I don't want to compare you to Frank Miller. You're not quite there yet, but you might want to look at that. With the orders for his variant covers to February 26th, Batman Along Halloween, The Last Halloween #5 being the last straw. Well, I mean, I would like to see that cover and see how bad that was. When they couldn't even order my Batman cover correctly, that sealed it, Rob writes. For months, I go to stores and their shelves are stuffed with unsold product. 15 to 30 copies of comics that did not move off the shelves and won't unless they're part of a discount sale opportunity, Rob writes. My comics are all gone. My variants like time slides are hunted at top prices online. My Deadpool team-ups are all gone, and now my Batman cover, it's sold out everywhere. The retail situation is upside down. I'd much rather be the guy with the empty slot due to demand exceeding supply, but all these unsold comics represents a huge misfire on behalf of retailers. Direct-to-consumers will continue to grow. So, again, what Rob is realizing is that once you make a certain name for yourself, once you've achieved a certain level of fame, in Rob's case, it's being, fame for creating Deadpool, and fame for being an artist, and fame for just being, one of the Image founders and rock stars back in the 90s. He's got a following that's going to buy from him wherever he is, right? He can go on Kickstarter, which he has and has failed to deliver, which is why he's probably not using that model. He's going to do it directly on Whatnot. But people are going to flock to him, right? I would advise being careful with this because he has not fulfilled Brigade. It's been well over 8 to 10 years now. Maybe we'll have to do a special Nyobicomics retrospect and take a look at that campaign and see if people are getting their books. He goes on to say here, this isn't Rob Liefeld's first experience with selling directly in fans. And here they're going to actually talk about it here. In 2013, he launched a Kickstarter campaign to fund a relaunch of another series of his called Brigade. It occurred double its stated goal of 17.5. However, at the time, as of 2025, one of the key rewards, a hardcover edition of select Brigade issues, has yet to be shipped to the 30 people who ordered it and have been vocal on social media and within the Kickstarter comments section. And that's what I want to have a look at. So it looks like some of these books may have gone out, except for these hardcovers. Get those hardcovers out, man. There are currently 4 versions of Rob Liefeld's #1, Youngblood #1 for sale on his personal Whatnot store, all signed by the artist. So keep in mind, this is why he wants to sell them direct and not at shops. Because if he's selling them at shops, he's selling them for $3.99, $4.99. He's getting like 50, 60, 70 cents a book. He sells them direct. He can sell the Youngblood #1 launch edition, premium premiere, I don't know how many premium and premieres we're going to have here. Gold foil variant for $160 American. You will also have the Youngblood Launch Edition Virgin variant for $60, the Sketch variant for $60, and the Trade Dress variant for $60. So no matter how you slice it and dice it, this comic is $60, okay? In October 2024, the new Youngblood series was announced, along with plans for Image Comics to publish the series and offer it to fans through the shops. Youngblood #1 issues Liefeld is selling through his Whatnot store, carries the Image Comics logo and are of a higher quality. And that when Youngblood #1 is eventually sold to comic book shops, it will have its own bells and whistles. Following his initial post, Rob wrote that he loves and supports retailers and doesn't want them to fail, but they can no longer be reliable to him as a curator. He goes on to say, I buy online and in person. I advocate for my podcast to support the clubhouses, and that's what I like to believe they are. I don't want them to disappear like record stores, all of which have closed and vanished in my area and well beyond. I'm a weirdo. I'm prone to saying weirdo things. And one of those things is that I can't continue to rely on traditional marketplaces to fully support my artistic endeavors. Expanding into new markets it's a part of evolution. To the retailers that say my work doesn't sell for you, well, I feel terrible that my work can't move. I feel bad. Hopefully in the future my work will sell again. Wishing all the best. So again, Rob Liefeld's Youngblood #1, currently available for order. Now, I don't know if they've been printed, but currently available for order through Rob's Whatnot page right now, and hopefully later this year at your local comic book shop. So the idea is, right, this has nothing to do with what he's saying. This has everything to do with cashing in first. And it's not a bad plan. Look, I've done it myself with Antarctic Press, right? The philosophy is you get the work done, you pay for it, you get it drawn, you get it written, you get it printed, and you sell it first, right? You sell it to your Kickstarter. In Rob's case, it's Whatnot. Your eBay store, your online store like Coffin Comics Launch, like Brian Polito has, however you want to do it, right? And you get that initial rush, those people that are really excited for your work, who are willing to pay the premium dollars for the select covers, the variants, and all that stuff, and get all that money essentially directly. And then once that sort of dies down, then you can get the casual normie comic book buyer who may or may not pick up your book when they walk into the store and see it on the shelf. And then you're going to get your pennies on the dollar, right? There's a little bit extra money. So I've always looked at the direct market in that sense. The real money comes from the crowdfunding, and the exposure and just sort of like the clout and the credibility comes from being in the shops, but that pays you nickels and dimes. Hope that helps you out understanding the mentality of Rob Liefeld. And if you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of Rob. Can he draw feet? Can he not draw feet? Let's do a poll on that. Let's do a poll. If you're going to be willing to pay $60 American for one of Rob Liefeld's Youngbloods, I mean, they weren't that great to begin with. I don't see how they're going to be any better now. I'm certainly not doing it. Even if I saw it in the comic book shop for $5, unless if it had like one of the hot female characters predominantly on the cover, and I knew maybe it might be worth some money down the road, I may pick it up. But man, that's a lot of maybes and probably a whole hell of a lot of no's. But let me know what you think. And stay tuned for more videos coming up soon.